very important for writing, designing the self-learning material. All of you know all those parameters, but still few things, many things will be new to each one of us. With these words, I once again welcome Professor Panda on the third day of this workshop. He has been sending a lot of reading material to all of you through emails, through WhatsApp. I'm sure all of you must have read, but will also read, continue reading those material and try to improve upon how it can be learning outcome based self learning material. With these, I welcome each one of you on the third day. Tomorrow will be the last day. I once again welcome Professor Panda and over to Professor Panda.
So friends, Assalamu alaikum. Mustafa Bhai is a hard worker.
Walaikum assalam.
Alaikum salam.
And
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম
আমি জানি না বাংলা কি বলি, but Delhi is Urdu, so I'm very much acquainted with Urdu. But Bangla is also very close to our heart. So Professor Mustafa will also have to work hard to get colleagues to do what we are discussing. Because this is not the in-house style. In-house style is very different. Whatever you have is fine. What we are discussing is how to improve that in-house style, how to put more blood and flesh into that. Therefore, it becomes outcome-based. What exactly do we mean by outcome-based, by the way, in this context? This would simply mean that we are committing that our teaching learning will have some meaning in terms of some output, plus output is visible. Outcome may not be visible. Outcome is intellectual development, competency development, which will be visible only when we put that into practice. So as objectives and learning outcomes, so also output as well as outcome. So our intention here is, while doing the metrics, this is the only way I have seen internationally people doing, but we are doing more practically. So once the learning outcomes have been categorically defined, in fact, the public, all stakeholders would like to know what are your outcomes, learning outcomes that you are proposing. So the metrics itself, in one way or the other, because I have shared with you the program guide and some of the sample resources which talk about how this should be placed where, but they should be made available to stakeholders, including those employers, the accreditation regulatory agencies. So in Bangladesh, higher education, and many others, parents and students themselves. So also teachers and counselors, tutors. The learning outcomes will define that what we are actually aiming at to give you. Or in other words, when you graduate, how do you look like? That would simply mean that you may have learned so many things inside, but what exactly you are going to contribute. As Professor Mustafa was telling, besides many contributions, contributions to society, contribution to national development, to economy, to living, to happiness in society, to harmony. And in IGNOU, we have a vision. One of the vision is national integration. So when you ask my colleagues that in their course materials, how they are doing national integration, it's very difficult for them because they are not consciously doing that. You see, justice, equality, national integration without discrimination of caste, creed, religion, culture, gender, whatever it is. So learning outcomes Our expectation from colleagues is very simple, that if you can visualize your own course, your own lesson, and your own program, entire program, in terms of learning outcomes derived from your concept mapping, your discussion with experts, employers, your interaction with the regulator, and so many contribute to that, but finally jotted down as learning outcomes at different levels, competencies at different levels, understanding, knowledge, application, creativity, innovation at different levels. So our objective is specification of learning, your commitment to the students and to everybody in the society through what is called learning outcomes. That's your commitment. How you will be doing, that's yours. You are not committing how you will be doing, that's yours, but you are committing to the public that these are our learning outcomes that we are standing by and we will do it. Once this is done, the second step that everybody would expect to know, that to achieve those learning outcomes, what kind of activities you will perform. And therefore, we will discuss today activities, therefore the activities that you need to perform. So that means learning outcome 1 activity, learning outcome 2 activities, learning outcome 3 activities. How do you do it? That's yours. But the activities you have to propose. And if these are learning outcomes which will be achieved through these activities, the third and final thing is how you are going to ensure and certify and assess and certify that the learning outcomes have been achieved, which in one piece of paper is called a degree or a diploma or a certificate. I hope, friends, I'm communicating properly. So we are interested in these three things: your detailed learning outcomes, and for each learning outcome, the activities that you will carry forward, and how you will assess, evaluate, conduct examination, test, or whatever to achieve those learning outcomes, which is called your degree. That's the objective. So without taking much time, friends, let me proceed. So far, we have received 8 matrices from colleagues. 1 or 2, like Dr. Newman Sarkar from medical science and quite a few other colleagues, a very detailed metrics they have done. They worked out very comprehensively for the program. That means I'm sure the colleagues must have joined together to do that, unless it is a lesson or a course. So the entire program they have done. So if you can do the entire program, it will be excellent. But for a particular course is also fine, but at the minimum at a lesson level, because when you do at a lesson level, this is micro. But before that, if at least a course is done, outcome-based learning, and within that you locate your lesson and do some sample, that will be very nice, because simply independently doing a lesson without really working on the course will have less meaning. That's what it is. So friends, let me proceed. Today we will be discussing our writing of the self-learning materials, which you all know you have been writing, but I will highlight a few points for you for consideration, which is done internationally, but in simple terms, without any jargon or theory, I will put up to you. Because many colleagues do not belong to the pedagogy discipline, they have their own discipline. So whatever minimum is required, I'm just telling you. Also, I will talk about activities, different kinds of activities. That will be my second section of interaction with you. And the final section is about integration, because we were talking about integration and doing things. Integration is not a complex thing. It is a policy matter, but certainly at pedagogic level, how we can decide to proceed and do that kind of integration. Not very complex. Integration side by side, I will say all the three things that I said: learning outcomes, activities, and assessment. Technology only will facilitate. Technology is not the primary thing. I must submit to all of you. So technology is a facilitative mechanism. It is a medium. But your pedagogy, your discipline, your teaching learning is main, and technology is just a medium. So therefore, technology, don't make technology as primary. But when we use technology, we must understand that technology, that what is the behavior of that technology. So friends, I will present these three sections to you. In between, maybe we can stop for 5-10 minutes if you have any questions. Then at the end also, we will have some interaction. And I'm not getting so many emails from you. If 90 plus colleagues are participating, I am getting only email from 5, 6, 7 colleagues. I thought you were still reflecting on what to write to this professor. So I will take very well. You simply say this is all bullshit nonsense, but I will respond. I will clarify why this is not nonsense. I will also patiently clarify to you. So therefore, feel free to whatever problem you have, because WhatsApp group is a limited space. So email you can write long, and you can attach files and so on and so forth. So friends, let me go to my first section, content. You have done your concept mapping, you have done your learning outcomes, and you have also jotted down your program, different courses, and different lessons. And for each, you have jotted down, I'm assuming you have jotted down the different kinds of activities that you will carry forward to achieve those learning outcomes. And also, side by side, you have also jotted down that if these activities have to be carried forward, then how we are going to assess this, how to conduct examination, different tests, and so on and so forth. So now about content. I have provided you enough resources and materials, very selected, which will be very useful to you. They are qualitatively rich. I provided to you technology-enabled learning, and a few other open educational resources, how to evaluate. Yesterday, I sent you 2-3 literature, including the latest Commonwealth of Learning book, which has a lot of case studies, of very innovative case studies of blended learning design, including your OERs, your MOOCs, and so on and so forth. They call it TELMOOC. So I hope you can browse through that book and the chapters, and whatever interests you, you can study and see that how they have done as good practice and what you can derive from that, if at all you like that. So about content, the first thing is for me to submit to you is that, you see, sorry, this is not supposed to be the first screen, but anyway, so you see how you have to present your materials. Therefore, you ensure more of active learning and less of passive learning. It is not only your writing is fine. Your writing has to be conversational. It has to be dialogic. That, friends or students, we have completed this. Now it is time to go to something else. And before that, let us look at this table. And the table talks about this. And what do you derive from this table? When I say, what do you derive from this table? In your materials, you are writing like this. Writing has to be like this precisely, friends. You are not writing a textbook. You are writing a teaching learning material. This is what is called a self-learning material. So therefore, in between, when you ask a question, what do you understand about this? Can you visualize, these kind of questions when you ask in between your writing of the lessons? These are called in-text questions. We will come to that. Besides the self-assessment questions, these are in-text questions. Like in the classroom, you also ask, do you understand? Has anybody understood? You haath khada karo, hands up. Those who have understood and those who could explain. These kind of things to make it interactive. So I've not gone through your materials, but if you send me some select materials, I'll go through and comment to you also. I'll request to Professor Mustafa to share if there is a PDF file or Word file of a lesson or something, a simple lesson of different disciplines. Science and technology, I don't understand much, medical science, mathematics, but then social science, management, education, social work, law, that I can comment more effectively. So as you see on the screen, this active learning will be ensured by certain activities which is written on the right hand side. And when you say that instructivists define at the knowledge level, define, list, describe, explain, they will not become so active They will learn, but they will not actively engage in their learning. Friends, I'm trying to distinguish between a kind of learning which is a rote learning with understanding, of course, but a kind of learning where they get motivated, engaged. That would simply mean that they will reflect further. So whatever you are writing, they are not only understanding, but also they are engaging with that. They are reflecting on that. They might question you, or they might add to that, or they will learn more. So we have to aim towards getting into active learning than passive learning. Most of our distance learning is becoming passive learning, by the way. So therefore, besides the study center interaction, besides a website interaction, I'm not sure what Bangladesh Open University policy is, but at IGNOU, we have succeeded to provide freedom to the faculty that besides their self-learning material, their practicum, their study center, learning center, counseling, tutoring, each one can have a part of a portion, a fraction of the website that IGNOU has created for interaction. And that is official. Unofficially, informally, you can have Google Group. I will give the example today of the Google Group, that how we did it as part of engagement. So Google Group is free, and you can do that as much as you are Zooming right now, which is free, which is a Chinese platform. The Indian government has actually banned this kind of Chinese platforms, but Commonwealth of Learning is an international organization, so they are using this, which is very good because Zoom is the biggest in the world today. So how to proceed from passive to active learning? The second, this is what is called Dell's cone of experience. When you study, our other colleagues might be knowing. So here the cone says that when you are at the knowledge and understanding level, which is largely instructivist, you 10%, 20% only you understand. But when you proceed further, that if your materials that you have written and your activities that you have given to the students, on the basis of those materials, if you can ask for demonstration, application, and practice, their learning will increase. And finally, if you tell them to create something, to comment on something, to critically analyze something, then certainly their understanding will be higher. Now, therefore, when they read your self-learning material, it is very low, the quality of learning. Then they hear from you at the study center, little more. Then they view some images. Those images can be in your self-learning material, they can be videos, they can be audios, and kinds of things. Then actual video, if they are integrated into your program, they may be supplementary. They may be supplementary because largely we are also using a supplementary. Then if there are some exhibits, that some kind of a new site, a new open education resource that you are linking in your material, that you connect to this, and then study and come back. Within 10 minutes, you come back. Watch a demonstration. Demonstration could be through video. Demonstration can be at the study center, isn't it? Participates in hands-on workshops. So hands-on workshop can be done virtually, but hands-on has to be a face-to-face. Design collaborative lessons. Collaborative lesson, I have already told you, friends. One, without money, is Google Group. I'm sure and I hope that all of you, each one of you, will create a Google Group for your students. And each one of you will get into what is called a collaborative wiki, which is free of cost. If you do that, students can collaboratively engage. They can collaboratively engage officially, unofficially, anywhere. But officially, if you do that and build that, link that to your program or course, that will be appreciated. If there are some simulations done, and finally, if they have to work on that, what is called a project, if they have to do a project and make a presentation themselves and defend themselves, that will be highest form of learning. So friends, I hope I'm communicating. These two diagrams are telling us that even self-learning print materials we can do a lot more interactivity and activity, which will lead to active learning. So based on these, you will look at your materials. Otherwise, what will happen? This will be all text, text, table, text, table, text, table. Ah, my goodness. I will sleep. Students will certainly sleep. This text and table, text, table, this, that, this, that, this, that. So some kind of activities need to be built to engage them, because engagement is quality learning. Without engagement, it is just reading and understanding and reproducing. Therefore, friends, now this outcome-based learning, are you able to read this PowerPoint? Please read it and see, do your courses and lessons have these built-in skills and competencies? Not necessarily a vocational education and training. Through your discipline, every discipline has its own jargon, has its own nuances, and within that, you can develop all these. For instance, discipline skills, you must develop discipline competencies. What are these discipline competencies? These are nothing but the learning outcomes. I hope you are getting me. That your discipline competency, somebody will say you are teaching a discipline through a certificate or diploma program. What competency in the discipline they are developing? If translate that into action, that becomes your learning outcome, isn't it? Number two, what employability skills? Today, in my country, with the new education policy this year, my government says that every teaching learning must build in employability skills, vocational skills, professional skills. Otherwise, the students are graduating, they are not getting any job. In distance education open university, we are only contributing to that unemployment. If it is so, therefore, how to build in employability into that? I'm sure there are colleagues, many parts of the world, everywhere, they would simply say, it's not my job. My job is to teach. I'm not concerned with your employment. I'm not saying that you have to give them a job. What I'm simply saying, as long as they are studying, you are taking a fees, you are teachers taking salary, you have to build employability skills into the students, into your graduates. This is compulsory. This is how part of the outcome-based learning. We are discussing outcome-based learning, friends. So your discipline competencies, employability competencies, social and life skills and happiness. You will say through my course, my lesson, how do I increase happiness? I gave you last time one example, the Delhi government, Delhi is a state now. The Delhi government, which is not the national party, they introduced happiness curriculum in the school. After 1 year, people realize students are happy, parents are happy, everybody is happy. Hopefully the teachers are also happy because their workload increased. So teachers are also equally happy. Employer is happy, the society is happy. So friends, I'm sure you are jotting down that in your lesson, in your course, all these competencies need to be visible. They have to be expressed in terms of your learning outcome. If not, you are doing an unemployable distance teaching, by the way, as much as they are doing the same unemployable classroom teaching. This is how 21st century, now they say that the outcome-based learning and 21st century skills, they go together. Technology skills. Are you developing technology skills in your students? Because now in schools, every child is learning computer and technology. And in your own program, is every student learning that in one way or the other? I was talking about the highest form of learning, self-regulated learning, metacognition. In your discipline, are you facilitating students to develop their own ability to enhance their own learning? You are only facilitating. And finally, and most important, this is what the UNESCO is telling all the time, learning to learn skills. Every time information technology is changing, we have to learn to learn. We have to relearn. So friends, to conclude this PowerPoint, I would submit to you to consider that whether all these competencies are available in your program, if not in a particular lesson, because one particular lesson cannot deal with all these things. So in your entire program and course by course, do you have these skills built into them, which are expressed in terms of learning outcomes? This is what your matrix is all about. Next, when you introduce your self-learning material, what is an introduction, by the way? Your self-learning material doesn't need a huge introduction, a lengthy introduction. Your self-learning material, you can recheck your lessons. If you send me some lessons, don't worry, I will not tell anybody. I will simply provide feedback to you confidentially. You can recheck your lessons and see that if there is a brief introduction to that. What is this introduction in a self-learning material? The introduction, as a teacher does in the classroom, the introduction is a recapitulation of what happened beforehand, what happened in the previous lessons. Second, it will tell what is coming up very precisely and logically, to tell what is coming up. Gappe nahi chahiye. Big stories are not needed. A long introduction is not needed. No concept is needed. You are only justifying and explaining what is coming up. Number 3, if you have done a structuring the way you have done for your lesson, that simply means the way you are teaching your lesson, section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. I had told you earlier, at IGNOU here, we do not believe in these sections in the textbooks. We reverse it with full justification. There is not a single way how to teach. Friends, I must submit to you one very important thing. Who decides what to teach and how to teach? I repeat this question. Do you ask this question to yourself? If you are not, certainly we are not good teachers. If you are an excellent teacher. Who decides what to teach? In Bangladesh Open University, I'm questioning you. Who decides what to teach and how to teach? There must be. So therefore, there is not a single way what to teach. There is nothing, a single way how to teach. The same content you can teach very differently. I will teach the same content by starting one activity. I will give an activity, do it. I'm a student of economics. If I have to teach economic growth and economic development, I will not start with a definition of economic growth and economic development. Never. I will start the indicators with some data that this is what this country has in Africa or India, a developing country. This is what these indicators, this kind of data, this is the lifestyle in another developed country. This is what is happening. So can you find out? I will give a question after that. You see, this is how teaching learning is all about. You see, there is no textual material here. There is no straightforward linear. I started with an activity. After the activity, I'm giving a question that can you find the difference between these indicators of a developing country and those indicators in a developed country? When they jot down those indicators, I will then put up to them that can you differentiate that why these indicators are like that and why these indicators are like that? Then I will give examples, explanation why they are different. And finally, I will come to the point that if this is so because of these reasons, this is called economic growth. And if this is so because of these reasons, this is called economic development. My lesson is over. My 15-20 page lesson is over. And within that 15-20 page lesson, actual content is 30 to 40%. The rest are activities, explanations, questions, responses. Friends, am I communicating? I'm just challenging you that you really look at your lessons, the way you are presenting and writing. If you do simple textbookish presentation, the way it has been done in textbooks, and you are ordering the way it has been organized and arranged, most probably we are committing a mistake. It can be done very differently. And therefore, we are good teachers. And teacher has all the freedom. No vice chancellor, no head of the department, no dean, nobody. Teacher has all the freedom how to teach. Nobody can tell the teacher how to teach. Only you can do professional development for me. You can increase my competency, but you cannot tell me how I should teach. Is it all right, friends? I'm sure this is in India, this is in Bangladesh, this is in UK, this is in America, everywhere. So therefore, if we have that freedom, we must utilize that freedom. That's what I'm saying. So therefore, friends, your introduction is 3 things, just 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. That's all. What happened in previous lessons, what is coming up in this lesson, and why I have organized the lesson section, subsection in this way, and why not in different way. Are you doing that? No. There was a king, there was like that, there was Akbar, there was Aini Akbari, there were Abul Fazl, and all bala, all bullshit. Nobody will read that. So therefore, friends, what I'm trying to impress upon you, very straightforward, I'm trying to impress upon you that you are the master, that how to teach. And you can decide what content to teach. Professor Mustafa the other day, yesterday, was asking question, and we were discussing with all of you. There are so many factors which contribute to decide your curriculum and course content, isn't it? Yesterday we discussed. That's fine. But then once it has been decided what to teach, then it is you to decide how to teach. How to teach means your concept mapping. Am I communicating, friends? Yes or no? বুঝতে পারি?
Yes.
How to, I repeat, I'm not getting response from you. I'm not receiving matrices from you, my friend.
Yes, excellent.
Yes.
So, how to teach,
We got it.
you have all the freedom how to teach. And how to teach is nothing but your concept mapping. You have drawn your concept map the way you'd like to teach. And within that, you are deriving your learning outcomes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for each learning outcome, you say that this content certainly I will give, but then these activities they will carry forward, and how you are going to assess those activities and content, and that is your final learning outcome. So your introduction, friends, will have 3 things to repeat. That recapitulation of the previous units, previous lessons, what is coming up in this lesson, and why you have organized in that way, why not in different way. If a student will ask you, sir, why you have presented your content like this? In the school also they ask, in Delhi they ask to the teachers. And teachers have to explain, yes, I'm doing this way, not that way, because of these regions, that region, that region. Are you getting me? So why to allow them to ask that question? You can say, I'm doing this way, I'm not doing that way because of these regions. Is it all right? I understand it becomes our responsibility as a teacher to spell this out. For your kind information, I spent a year for my Fulbright and taught a semester in US. In the United States, if the teachers do not tell why they are doing this and why not that, the student will take the teacher to the court of law to sue the teacher in the court of law, guaranteed 100%. If they are doing that, why not we? Am I communicating, friends? So therefore, this is about your introduction. Very simple. Then your next learning outcomes. You are specifying your learning outcomes. Then you are giving your students how they will work on these self-learning materials, how they will study, how much time it will take, what activities they will carry forward to study these. These need to be presented in bullet form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you need to do this. Then you have to say that this lesson is linked to which assignment. Are you getting my points? So when you are giving assignments in the study center, they will say, you read these modules these lessons to do your assignment. No, 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 no. Why should I leave to my tutors? On my lesson itself, I will say these 2-3 lessons put together is assignment number 1 in your handbook. It is given there. Is it all right, friends? You have to very categorical term. Don't hide anything from your students. So this introduction is the beginning of your self-learning material. This introduction is equally applicable to print, to audio, to video, to multimedia, to online learning, to anything. This is about teaching learning. You bring any media, it doesn't matter. Is it all right? I proceed to the next. Your presentation style. Whatever you are writing, teaching, how you are doing is fine. But how to present that? How to communicate? You must be getting me how I am communicating with you. I am trying to make it more conversation now. I'm not giving a speech. I'm discussing with you. I'm interacting with you in the process. So your self-learning material, print, audio, video, they are all like that. So number 1, it has to be conversational style. You are talking to them. Now you have completed this, and after this completion, can you let us do an activity? Are you getting me? This is how your self-learning material, the way you are talking to somebody in the classroom, in your self-learning material, you will also talk like that. You will also present like that. So it has to be dialogic, conversational. Always link to learning outcome. Section 1, you will say this section was related to learning outcome number 1 of the lesson. Section 2, I say that section 2 is related to learning outcome number 2. Why don't you spell out clearly? Why not? If you do not do, I will question. As a student, I will question. Why, sir, you are not doing, madam, you are doing? Tell me why you are not doing. Why you have not done? Since you have not done, I am just beating around here and they are trying this page, that page. I'm confused. You tell me. So self-learning material is step by step. There is a whole lot of creativity possible, but there must be some structure, step by step. Simple language. Oh, Baba, simple korte pare na. Complex is very good. Complex, complex, complex. Therefore, you know, this and that. These English people, the Britishers have told us how to become very complex. This is the effect of English language. You see? In Urdu, in Delhi, when you read a Sairi, you understand in Urdu. Sairi. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Sairi is a very, very jargon in that. But when you understand this jargon as a glossary, you understand, oh my goodness, sky is the limit. आप तो खुदा के पास पहुंच गए. किताब क्या पढ़ेंगे? शायरी में पहुंच गए. Heaven, divinity, you get that. How it is possible? Simplest language. From my presentation, day before yesterday, today, you must have realized, I'm giving my learning outcome to you. You must have realized by now what reasonably good communication is all about. I am presenting to you the simplest language possible. English is not my first language. Hindi is not my first language. I belong to a regional place in India, but still I am speaking fluent Hindi and fluent English. And the simplest English. Am I communicating, friends? You must be thinking, why I'm saying this? I'm saying this not to present myself. I'm saying this to make the point that the simplest language is the most difficult thing to write and to communicate, to speak. We make it very complex. We are good at it. Please try to be as simple as possible. That's what I'm simply saying. Next. Logical sequence. When you are telling a story, self-learning material is a story. If you are telling a story, you are going step by step by step. Everything is linked to each other. But friends, I must tell you, I have read so many self-learning materials. I have visited more than 30 countries, conducted workshops and so on and so forth with English people together with Americans, Canadians. I've done. I have read at many places. It is so difficult. Nothing is related to nothing. They are cut and paste here and there. So high sounding words. Oh my goodness. दिमाग खराब हो जाता है. One goes mad. Students will sleep. So therefore, friends, always make it connected. Connect, 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 connect. When you can say something in tables, in figures, in data, in pictures, why don't you do that? Why to write long paragraphs? You give as much as possible. Then, friends, the most important thing here, self-assessment questions and in-text questions. Please note it, that from time to time, you have to give self-assessment questions. Now, since you have read this section, jot down 5 different important points that you have read. This is a question. They will write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, they can see also your material. Doesn't matter the material they will see, they will write. But in the process, they will learn. Don't hide anything. It's open. This is an open university. These are open materials. What is there in that? These are your self-assessment questions. And side by side, I have written in-text questions. I hope you are distinguishing between self-assessment questions and in-text questions. In-text questions in the classroom, teacher will say that, can anybody say who was Akbar? Raise your hand. This is an in-text question. Then after that, they will tell other students, do you understand what he is telling? The student will say, yes, sir, we understand. This is a cross-checking. This is an in-text question. Are you getting me, friends? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
I will read your materials. You have to send me. I will read your materials. I have to find in-text questions. That means you are just cross-checking, making them alert. Are you sure now you have completed this? Let us go to the next session. But are you sure that you have understood this and we are going to the next session? They will not get any chance to respond to you in print self-learning material. But this is a way of telling, way of cross-checking. Is it all right? Next, friends, which is most important, multi-perspectives. You as a teacher, you believe in one perspective. You do not believe in others. I as a teacher, I believe in another perspective. I do not believe in your perspective. Is it all right? That usually happens. But my submission here is, as teachers, we have to give as many perspectives as possible, as many views as possible, as many possibilities, as many explanations as possible. With so many examples we have to give. Not only one example, plenty of examples to give. That's what I'm saying. And finally, friends, cross-referencing. This is very important. I do not find in many self-learning lessons cross-referencing, that while discussing this section, a paragraph, you are doing something, or a picture or something you are doing, you are saying that, can you recall what we discussed in that page, in that section, previous section? It is related to that. That time we discussed this, and this time the meaning is like this. Is it all right? This is a cross-sectioning. Within that module, within the another course, within another course. And one thing I have not written here is interdisciplinarity. These days, in outcome-based learning and in 21st century learning, they say that it has to be interdisciplinary, because every knowledge, every discipline is linked to the other discipline. Knowledge is one. We have divided them into disciplines. 100% guaranteed. I stand by that. Knowledge is one. We have divided those into disciplines. And disciplines you have divided into programs, into courses, and all kinds of things that we do. And therefore, friends, my submission is that in your teaching learning, in your self-learning material, try to make it as interdisciplinary as possible, linked to other disciplines, linked to other knowledge. Because in the society, when students will graduate, they will find all disciplines put together in the society. They will not find disciplines in society. They will find disciplines in Bangladesh Open University, departments in Bangladesh. In the society, in the community, in their village, they will not find any department, any discipline. Is it all right, friends?
Yes.
Am I communicating?
Yes.
Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
This is
Yes,
precisely
yes,
what
yes.
it is. I would like to see, I would like to see in your self-learning material. Self-learning material is very simple. This presentation style that I have presented is very simple. Very simple. Friends, there was Professor Holmberg, a great distance educator from Sweden, and there was Professor Derek Roundtree from the British Open University. I have worked with both of them as much as possible. So therefore, they presented, when they wrote the first book almost 30 years back, more than 30, 35 years back, when they wrote the first book, they said self-learning materials can be divided into three types. Tutorial in print. Just like you are conducting a class or a tutorial, that is available in the printed material. That means you are going step by step and kinds of things which are written here you will study. This is the simplest and very linear, structured way of self-learning material. Sometimes some lesson will demand that. You can also do that. No good, no bad. Everything is fine. But you have to decide. Second, reflective action guide. From the title, you must be understanding what does it mean. If your lesson is a reflective action guide, that means the way I said, I will start with an activity. No content. I will start with an activity and tell students to do activity and reflect. And then I will guide them further to proceed. Then content will come in between content will come. That is how a self-learning material is done. Number 3, dialogue. If you like, I can send you later on a sample, an example of each type. I can tell you, I can send you so that you can see that how this has been done. That a self-learning material is a dialogue between two people, dialogue between three people, person A, person B, person C. They are dialoguing themselves and your self-learning lesson is going on. This is the highest form of highest quality learning. We need competencies to write these materials like this. Let me proceed further. Therefore, friends, while writing and presenting all of these, the question comes of plagiarism. Now in Government of India, the University Grants Commission says, professors, look, if there is plagiarism in your thesis, in your books, in your self-learning material, in your teaching learning, you will be prosecuted. This is a criminal offense. You will be arrested, put in the jail. Now every professor in this country is fearful, but we have to be very careful. Straight you go to the jail. Certainly you will be suspended. Then you will be dismissed. But before dismissal, you will be sent to jail. Because after dismissal, you will fly the country to another country. So who will catch hold of you, by the way? So you are getting me? So before dismissal, you will be sent to jail, you see? Because after dismissal, you will fly. You will change your passport, you will fly to another country. So we'll catch hold of you. So therefore, friends, plagiarism is a very serious issue. I was telling you the other day, I will repeat, that internet is a platform for information, for wider dissemination, not to copy, not a single sentence to copy, not a single figure to copy. So please don't copy and paste from any source, 100% full stop. So plagiarism is not tolerable. Even citing a source incorrectly is considered as plagiarism definition. because we copy from some source, that author has copied from another author, that the another author has copied from another author. This is a copying business going on. So therefore, please be very careful that when you are quoting somebody properly, scientifically, legally, you are quoting, that quotation is wrong because that professor has quoted wrongly from somebody else. Are you getting me, friends? So therefore, please be very careful. Professors are like that. They say, don't question a professor. In Germany, they say, don't question a professor. Professors are last word. In Germany, you cannot drag a professor to the court. You know that. In Germany, don't question a professor. But then the professor has the highest professional integrity. Therefore, people don't question a professor. In my country, in other developing countries that I visited, they always question a professor. He says he's a professor, he must be telling a lie. You see? But why such things are happening? Because we copy. While presenting in the classroom, we copy. We tell somebody's story in the classroom. I'm a great teacher. My communication, my English is very good, but I'm copying. I'm only teaching somebody else. I'm not teaching my work. Is it all right, friends? So therefore, plagiarism has to be very, very seriously considered. Don't pick up anything unless we will discuss at the third part of it, our presentation, unless it is Creative Commons double C, because everything is C, that means copyrighted. Everything is copyrighted in the world. Everything is copyrighted in the world, I repeat. But double C is to protect the copyright of the author. That if you have the copyright, that people will not misuse, please come to us. We are Creative Commons, we are double C. We will provide you a platform. We will ask others to come and use this professor's work and quote that professor, acknowledge that professor. And you cannot buy or sell it. There is a non-commercial NC in the Creative Commons, International Legal Intellectual Property. NC, N capital, C capital. That means non-commercial. You cannot buy, you cannot sell that material, but you can use it, you can remix it, revise it, mix with your material and so on and so forth. Second is, more dangerous, is self-plagiarism. The same article professor has published in 10 places. Can you think of it? Bangladesh, Dhaka is no different. Same article, the professor had changed the language and published in 10 different places and claiming as 10 publications. When you quote yourself, you have to follow the same rule like others, as if you were quoting somebody else. Are you with me, friends? This is international standard. Indian government, my government has passed in the parliament the copyright intellectual property right rule law. IGNOU has passed in its Senate the copyright intellectual property right law. So everybody is now very cautious. Everybody is very cautious. Self-plagiarism. Please don't do this. Friends, let me go to the second part of it. Activities. Activities within your self-learning materials and activities which can be given as separate, but which can be given in relation to your lesson. What are these activities? I will repeat three things. Maybe I have jotted down somewhere. I do not know. That's right. I will go back. So this I was telling you, your learning outcome, activities, assessment. These three things have to be perfect in your matrix. And these three things should be available in your program guide, student handbook. These three things must be told to the public, to the employer, to the accrediting agency, to the regulator, to the parents. Everybody would like to know these three things from you. If you are not doing that, you are hiding something. As a university, we are bound to do this. There is no way out. Otherwise, you take me to Dhaka, I will drag you to the court of law. Why you are not giving? I am sure you are giving. So therefore, learning outcome, related activity, how to assess and tell that you have achieved that competency and therefore this is your degree. Is it all right, friends? So therefore, what I'm simply saying is, I'll go back. So what I'm simply saying is that activities are very important. Now we know the place of activities. Activities can be part of your self-learning material. Activities can be separate but related to your self-learning material. Like in the print, you can give an activity within the printed material, but there can be a larger activity which is another material which can be linked to your lesson. I hope I'm communicating. So therefore, friends, one of the German universities I found very good. They have summarized what is the role of activity. They provide a structure to your learning. They achieve your learning outcomes. They ensure deeper learning. They will demonstrate that competency have been achieved. They will also lead to collaborative learning. If it's a group project, collaborative learning is possible. Team competency, leadership and team competency it will develop. Gain the interest also. They will lead to critical thinking and reflection. This critical thinking and reflection is not happening. I repeat, everybody is studying, everybody is teaching, but critical thinking and reflection in your discipline competency is not happening, happening less. If you increase critical thinking and more reflection, you are enhancing the quality of learning in your discipline. That's what I would say. Whether it is a classroom or distance learning, blended learning, online learning, non-formal education, community education, lifelong learning, whatever the case may be, that we have to enhance critical thinking and reflection. This is most important. The Commonwealth of Learning, in 2016, I got from them, the Commonwealth of Learning says that these are most important criteria for learning activities. That the expectations are made very clear to the students. That means when you give an activity, you have to tell, are you writing down, friends? I am seeing you are not writing. You will never get this after reading 10 books. I'm telling you, 100%. Please write down that when you give an activity, you have to categorically tell what to do. Point number one. Point number two, you have to tell how much time they have to put in an average. Point number three, what sources they will study other than your lesson to do that activity. Your lesson is not a great thing. There are many other things there. So your lesson plus anything that you will select as a teacher. They will not select. You will tell these sources you read to do this activity. Okay. And how to present that activity. They will do a printed writing, or they will do an audio or a video, or they will do a logbook or a portfolio or an assignment, or how they will do it. Is it all right, friends? You have to categorically, so your instructions, expectation that you expect have to be very clear. I am sure you have jotted down. This is enough. If you carry it forward, you are in the right track. You are in quality. No problem. Learning activities integrate course content with learning outcomes. Simple. That the course content that you have provided and the learning outcomes that you have jotted down, the activities will link between these two. Learning activities can be at various levels: knowledge, recall, problem solving, attitude, and so on and so forth. And learning activities prepare students for their assessment and achievement. When they do these activities, they know the practical application. This will also prepare them towards the examination. Then if your examination is only teacher-made test, essay type test, there are no activities in the examination, then the whole thing is gone. We need reforms in our examination. Our examination is basically as a teacher-made test. 5 questions out of 10 questions, you do get 100 out of 100. Matter ends. Nothing comes out of that. Nothing. So examinations have to be based on activities. And therefore, in the Open University, in Bangladesh Open University, in IGNOU also, and our new education policy 2020 in India, they say at least 50% should be formative evaluation, 50% activities. If it is more, they'll be very happy. Examination can be 20, 30, 40, maximum 50%, final examination. In IGNOU, it is 30-70. 30 is formative and 70 is final examination. Now we have to reverse as per policy, 50% internal examination and activities. What is examination after all? Internal is an activity. And 50% term end examination or final examination. Is it all right? Now, friends, you can very carefully read these. All your activities can fall into these 4 categories. This is now internationally recognized. 2 of my colleagues, Dr. Misra, who was earlier SEMCA director and now at the Commonwealth of Learning, and Professor Gaba, who is the vocational school director at IGNOU. They did a study in 2001, I think it is written, 2001, they did a study. And now internationally, Britain, America, everywhere, they have accepted this categorization of activities that they had given. Because while searching the literature, I found yesterday only that many internationally, they are quoting Misra and Gaba. Then I was convinced, yes, they have done a great job. So all the activities can be either question-based or they can be reflective action. Those which are question-based, they can be with immediate feedback, like in-text questions, or with model answers that you can give at the end of activities, end of your lesson. Because at the end of your lesson, you also give answers. So, which is good. They can see the answers also before doing that, responding, but that's all fine, no problem. Because those who will not see, they will do themselves. They will get a great help. So these are called the self-assessment questions in your lessons. But then there is also another category that you give an exercise, but there is no answer given. Are you getting me? That you are giving an exercise. This is a very high order, very high order learning. You give an exercise, but only give certain hints that this is available in this section, that you can do this, you can do that. But what is the right or wrong answer, you are not giving. You are only facilitating that you do this exercise. This is what is called question-based. The other one is a reflective action guide, which is a very high order. Therefore, I will say the left-hand side will be more instructivist and this right-hand side will be more constructivist, isn't it? As you were asking, no, instructivist and constructivist, this will be like this. So constructivist, which is good, which is bad, I'm not saying. Everything has to be done in a lesson, depending on how you choose. If you like this has to be done this way, it has to be done. If it has to be done reflective, because your learning outcome, your activity, your learning outcome is like that, which is more reflective, which is more constructive. If your learning outcome is constructive based, you have to give reflective action activities, isn't it? So therefore, your learning outcome will decide how you will proceed. So please remember this PowerPoint. I will send you after the presentation to Professor Mustafa to share with you, because many are writing to me, because when you are putting in the Google Drive or something, they are finding difficult to download. So I will request Professor Mustafa, I will send email to all of you. I have all of your emails of all of you. I will email you. So please remember, this is the categorization of activities. There are hundreds of different kinds of activities that you can do, but they will fall under these categories. Now, to start with the lowest version, self-assessment questions. This is the lowest. They can be descriptive, to write in 50 words or 100 words. They can be multiple choice. You know these. There can be fill in blanks, true, false, match A and B, and there can be diagrammatic. That you create a diagram, you say that you find out the 5 principles from this diagram, where it is, A, B, C, D, E, where it is. So you know the kinds of things. There can be many. You can list, you will, in the literature, you will find many. I've selected these because we do all the time, quite often, these kind of self-assessment questions. Let me go to the next level. I hope you are able to read. Reflect on reading. Read something and reflect on that. This is an activity. Consult a dictionary. Go a thesaurus or a dictionary, you consult, and then come back. What is the meaning of that? Reading a piece of text. Reflecting on your experience. This is more constructivist. Like in our management science at IGNOU, at beginning, these days I don't know much. I'm not engaged with management science. They used to say that those who have 3 years of supervisory experience in business or industry or company, only they can come to study MBA. You need a 3 years experience. Is it all right? So they have experience. They are middle level managers, but they don't have an MBA degree. So the assignment given to them in MBA told them that given this scenario, given this case study, you go back to your company, you recall your company, your job experience, and try to write based on your job experience. So what kind of activity it is? It is a constructivist reflective activity. This is a case study, because each one will write a different experience, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Each one
Yes.
will
Yes,
write
yes,
a different
yes, yes.
experience. All the responses are not the same. There is not a definite response. So these kind of activities will increase more reflective, critical thinking, more application, higher order learning. So these activities need to be given. This is my summation. You will listen to an audio or video tape. After listening to the video, then you do an exercise, an assignment. Why not? Do a calculation. Carry out a practical work. In nursing, very different. Social work, very different. Teacher education, very different. Management, very different. Physics, chemistry, very different. History is different. Language is different. You describe your personal experience. Examine some experimental data. So examine some data that you are providing some data. Observe something. Just observe your surroundings or whatever you would like to them to observe. What kind of responses you expect from these activities? This I got from the Commonwealth of Learning material, Designing Distance Learning Materials by Commonwealth of Learning, 1999. Write answer in the margin. Write answer in the box that you will be giving in the lesson. Write answers in a separate notebook called a logbook or a reflective journal. Make a summary. Tick the boxes. Complete a table. A crossword puzzle. Make a glossary. Draw a diagram. Interview some people. Present an audio. Sky is the limit. Through these, what I'm simply proposing to you to consider is that if you give some kind of a logbook, can you imagine that we are giving a certificate program on surgery to the doctors who are already MBBS? A certificate program in surgery, we are teaching at a distance. And the best doctor in the country is the program chair. We are giving a certificate in cardiology. The best cardiologist in this country, who is internationally famous, even the American president comes to that person. That person is our cardiology program chair, advisory committee chair of IGNOU. So therefore, the doctors, especially surgery program, the doctors have to do operation in the medical college, in the district hospital, and the primary health center in the village. At 3 places, they have to complete that operation because they have to become surgeons. But they are already MBBS. So while doing surgery at 3 places, they simply maintain a logbook. You must see our doctor's logbook. The logbook is so comprehensive that only logbook gets into evaluation by the evaluator. Only logbook. So what I'm simply saying, friends, as you teach management or law by case, these days all kinds of professional education, including social science and humanities, they say you have to develop a portfolio. Because if you have to develop 21st century skills, a portfolio is essential. A portfolio is both competency based as well as more reflective. I repeat, a portfolio is competency based, it will enhance competency, as well as this will enhance the power of reflection. These must be seriously used in your activities. I have not written here sometimes an internship, a placement. An internship is an activity that they have to do a report and bring back. But you have to simply say which learning outcome is leading to that internship report. And if it is done, how you are going to assess that internship report. This is very simple. I mean, outcome-based learning is not very complex. It's very simple. Maybe we are doing, but we would like to do it more scientifically. That's what this workshop is all about, friends. So therefore, you will read more because there is no time to read out. What I have done here is, I've tried my best, though they will differ, they are cross-exchangeable from one column to the other. So the taxonomy from knowledge up to creativity, knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, creativity. And you are also talking about some constructivist. So the learning outcomes, constructivist, creative, analysis, application, and what kind of activities that you can give, I have jotted down here. You can add more, but you can try out some of these. So these could also be cross-exchangeable, that something can be application also, and something that can also be creative. Say, for instance, a project-based learning, PBL. PBL can also be called as problem-based learning. But if it is a project-based learning, whole lot of projects people are doing. And PBL is a very highest level of, I would say. And if the PBL is individually oriented to bring their experiences, that itself becomes constructivist. Is it all right? Also, at the knowledge level and at skill level, I have tried to provide you 4 kinds of strategies, which I expect should form part of your metrics in your assessment strategy. So what I have done here is that learning outcome, what kind of teaching strategy will be required, what kind of learning strategy from the students will be required, and therefore what kind of assessment you can do. This is a simple example, but this can be expanded to, and you will study more. So at the knowledge, I have talked about transmission, that means teaching only, direct instruction, and students' engagement at the knowledge level. At the skill level, I have talked about practice as well as application. So if there is knowledge transmission, what is your teaching strategy? What is the students learning and how to do assessment? At the engagement level, how to do that? At practice level, what is teaching strategy? What is learning? So these are possible in your self-learning materials, friends. That's what I'm saying. So learning outcome activity, and assessment. These three, I'm just trying to explain as much as possible. Now, therefore, the question is of integration. ঠিক আছে?
Yes, yes.
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে।
ঠিক আছে.
Any 5 minutes, any question?
Yeah, we can take a few questions, any queries we can take.
Professor Shah Alam, any question?
It's okay. Yeah. Actually, before I had a question, that is a constructivist and instructivist, which is more preferable to the for the ODL or learning self-learning materials. Today, I have very much clear about it. Thank you very much.
Everything is possible.
May I ask one
Instructivist, sometimes that is required. Constructivist, sometimes required. Application, sometimes required. Reflective, sometimes required. Reflective can be one question for all. It can be each student can reflect, as I gave our MBA example. So I think you are free to design any kind, but then the university will say, if you are making reflective, we do not have any mechanism to conduct examination. The university may say that. So I think we have to find out a way in a policy as well as how we would like to do. There has to be a midpoint that we will agree with the university that how we should proceed. We find a lot of difficulty in our doctor's program and nursing program, for instance. When they maintain a logbook, the university simply says, we don't have any provision in the software for this logbook. Then the whole thing is, so the doctors, what they did, our professors, they sat with the examination evaluation people, they developed the software, then they say, we are attaching this software to your examination and our logbook, because from the study center, medical college, they will feed the data that will get into the evaluation. So therefore, the software earlier was not there. And now since the software is there, it becomes easy. So I think gradually, we also need to work with the administrators and finance people so that they can support what the teachers would like to do, isn't it?
Yes, thank you very much.
So I have one question. That is because
please.
when we develop a lesson or a SLM, I mean total course, we have to consider the credit hour. So when we put all these contents or integrate everything together, so how we will consider that the credit hour? So is there any scale or measurement that when we will compile all these things?
No. You see, this is a very foundational question like yesterday, Professor Mustafa. Therefore, in the table of matrix table that I have given, I have said that the credit hours is for the program, that is total credit hours. But for all these columns that I have given in this matrix, each one will share a part of the credit hour. So much so, I also said, but it's not in the matrix, I also repeated quite a few times, that even if it's an informal Google group is given, but in our online program that got the best award, presidential award in this country, that we also included Google group, we assigned a credit hours, these many hours, and Google group we included in our assessment. So I think everything has to be given an hours of work, which is part of the credit. So traditionally, our colleagues here also, they thought that printed materials is the whole credit. There is nothing else. So credit means the print material. If it is so, how integration will take place? How outcome-based learning will take place? How activities will take place? So all these, therefore, I have given you this matrix. This matrix can be expanded. Everything is an hour of study. Everything.
Another question, sir, regarding the case study. So when we actually share the case studies with the students, mostly we refer to the case studies or written in US based or UK based courses. So should the cases be positively context specific? What do you think? So what is
You
most
see,
preferred?
I think it will depend on the experts and the discipline professor. But my generic common submission is that as much as possible, unless like physics, like chemistry, some hard science, the international case studies are fine. But something like management, for instance, in my country, you know that there is an ICFI school, ICFI business school. There is Ajit Premji business school. So some of these private universities, they are doing the case studies, cases. They are doing cases, and these cases are being purchased by Harvard University, by MIT. So what I'm simply saying is, it is both ways. So we are also getting American, British, largely Canadian, Australian, largely, and sometimes they're also taking from our side. So my submission is, other than hard science, in our soft science, in fact, management, nursing, social work, education, these are not very well established disciplines, by the way. They are still growing disciplines like nursing, they are growing disciplines. So in these disciplines, I think my submission would be, it may be a little more workload, that it is better if we do our own contextual case study. Unless it is extremely, if it is an international relation, if it is an international trade, if it is an international business marketing, and some of the international case studies will, I'm just speculating. I don't know management as much as you know, but then I'm just trying to speculate that if it is so, as a designer, I would simply say, why not American? Why not American? But then if it is a question of my contextualized business, so we have to design our own case studies. Case studies can be both hypothetical as well as authentic. So hypothetical and authentic, say my colleagues sometimes they argue that we do not have authentic, we can give hypothetical. I have colleagues who also simply say this hypothetical is bullshit, it is nothing. So we have to give authentic, and to do authentic, you have to do some data collection. It is not only your experience and reflective, it has to be based on data. So data means it will increase my workload, not that I will not be able to do, but that will increase my workload. So the whole question of teacher workload in distance learning, and distance learning teacher workload is more. Bangladesh Open University workload is more than Dhaka University, by the way. So, but they will not admit to that. So, and because diversified skills are needed in distance education. So I think the question is legitimate, because the same question is being asked here. When I was Fulbright, the same question they were asking in the US, that what should we do? Because workload is very important, we as teachers. The question is not important, our workload is important. So I think we have to make a balance. And therefore, I was getting into the next 2 or 3 PowerPoints after that. Therefore, since you have asked that very significant question, which even I have in my own mind, therefore, the activities, cases we can bring as open education resources. That's something which has been like community radio, which got developed in Bangladesh, support that I developed. That community radio program has gone to many countries, but the case studies are South Asian case studies actually. But when it goes to Africa, they will simply change the case study and take the whole program. And the whole program is open education resource. So I think some more such exercises we need to do in-house with our course teams sitting together to do that, because everything is workload. So on this point, I would simply submit that to what extent we can take how much workload we can do, but then the workload is the question, technology is also the question. So friends, to continue, this integration for me would simply mean pedagogic integration and a technological integration. These two things we will discuss here. For us, more important is pedagogic interaction, and therefore that matrix. Now, in this PowerPoint, I have summarized the matrix. Learning outcome 1, what activities, whatever content you do, whatever media you do, but what actual activities you are giving. Each activity is a study hour, has credit, and what assessment strategy you have. This is the fundamental question. Your employer is asking this question. Your regulator is asking this question. The parents are asking this question. The students may not understand this question. So the way you'd like to do, they will do it. But some of the senior colleagues, like in law, in management, and in these disciplines, they always ask this question, that what I'm getting out of it. So getting out of it means learning outcomes, engaging in different activities, telling specifically which activities for which learning outcome, and how to assess other than the way assessment is going on right now. Because these will be diversified assessment strategies. My Open University, IGNOU, I gave you the logbook example. So when they said it is a logbook, a diversified assessment, minute detail, micro, because it is surgery, operation theater, surgery. Then the university said, we don't have the mechanism. So I think we have to, the university has also to open up. The university leadership has to appreciate and open up. Also, this part of the game, part of this. So learning outcome 21st century is also a 21st century leadership skills, because leadership matters. If the leadership doesn't support these, what can we do? So I think all put together, it needs a collaborative exercise and coming to a consensus what best we can do. So therefore, friends, in this PowerPoint, I have summarized my metrics, pedagogy of outcome-based learning, that outcome categorically, the different activities which are credit-based and which will be assessed. And when you do that, the assessment strategy will totally change than what is going on right now. And whether the university will support that strategy. They will say, we don't have mechanism, we cannot conduct examination, we don't have software, we don't have this, we don't have that. So these need to be worked out. Therefore, this is one kind of integration. When you go to media integration, I was discussing the other day, only 3 types are available in the world that we have to make a decision. So far, our media integration has been supplementary. I visited the BOU, very sophisticated media center. I also presented a few teleconferencing programs, by the way, and my videos are available in BOU in some topics, very few, because we were there 3-4 times, and each time 3-4 days. So whatever time I found, I did visit with your media director, and we did some programs there. My point is that whenever it is supplementary, it is a standalone. And standalone is not supporting neither the learning outcome nor activity. Certainly, this cannot be assessed. This is our problem. In IGNOU also, this is problem. So this is our problem. Because there are many in the villages, they will simply say, we can take you to the court of law because I don't have access to technology. How can you make it compulsory? So affirmative action will tell us that people have access to technology. When access to technology is there, then you can do an integrated media. So my submission is, at least we can do complementary, which will be credit-based. Because supplementary standalone, that is not part of the credit calculation. When you make it complementary, that some portion of the content can be provided through video to conferencing, some web-based interaction, something can be thought of. And my aim is and our aim is for outcome-based learning, that it should be a pedagogic integration. The final integration of media has to be blended learning and pedagogic integration. For this, I have sent you some literature already on video, some media, OER integration, and kinds of things I have already sent. So your colleagues can go through. I'm just giving one example of blended learning, which my colleagues know here, and Professor Parhar is part of this, and Dr. Panigrahi also knows. This postgraduate diploma that we were offering on e-learning through e-learning got the best innovation award in the country from the President of India. What we did, We kept, this is a blended program. We kept technology to the minimum. We brought pedagogy, interaction, collaboration, and engagement and reflection to the forefront. What exactly we did? Very simple. As I say, keep it simple. Don't make it complex in your design. Design has to be very simple. We got open education resource, and you know the best theorist of online learning is Professor Terry Anderson. You know that, Professor Mustafa from Athabasca University. He is the father of online learning theory, but he's a good friend of mine. He's now retired. He's a good friend of mine. So I said, Terry, can you, your Athabasca, some publications are free, but these publications are priced publications. We are an open university, no profit, no loss. So can you give your entire open education resource online learning, your edited work, so that we can run that for the whole year through different, we had weekly schedules. You see, we are talking about courses, program, and lessons. But in online learning, we had every week. So our 1 year was divided between about 40 to 50 weeks. So weekly, we divided our open education resource into chunks, which were made available. So we did not develop the study materials. Point number one. We took total open education resource for that. Point number two, in our Moodle LMS, we did online activities, collaborative discussion forum, and assignments. Very simple. So they were done online. Also, we said that we will assign credit hours and we will conduct examination for Google group interaction. And we provided instructions that what part of learning outcome that you will do through Google group forums. Because the participants here, they have to develop an online program of them through the Moodle platform that we will provide to them. They will do an online, not a big program, but a module, maybe in agriculture and rural development, in finance and accounting. Somebody is from Adobe, they will do in computing. Somebody is from Microsoft. They were our students here. See, Adobe director was our student, because they would like to not only do a degree, but also learn much more pedagogy from this, because they are experts in technology. They are international experts in technology. Fourth, there was a weekly virtual class. Many open source, because our program aimed at promoting open source software. But then we were not using open source software because that was not reliable, because we are taking money from the students. So therefore we said that if every week there has to be virtual class, that there is collaboration. That Adobe Connect virtual class is much more, 10 times more than what is Zooming we are doing right now, or a teleconferencing can do. So you can do 4 things at a time. You can upload, download, you can SMS, you can chat, you can interact, and so. So we use the best Adobe Connect platform for our weekly interactive virtual class. Then we said to learn open source software, it cannot be done at a distance. We need to be for 2 weeks to learn all kinds of open source audio, video, graphics, animation, and LMS. You have to learn hands-on, face-to-face, compulsory. So everybody had to come to IGNOU headquarters all over the country to do this for these days, to stay in hotel and our final examination was through projects in between their formative presentations. E-portfolio was very much a part of that, and presentations through external examiners. So except 10-day face-to-face hands-on, nobody was face-to-face at all. Everything was done at a distance. This very simple pedagogy, it seems to be simple, it's not that simple, but then that simple pedagogy, as I explained very simply, got the highest quality as innovation in this country. At least we have not competed internationally, but then in this country. So what I'm simply saying is that keeping technology to the minimum, bringing pedagogy, interaction, collaboration, reflection, activities based on outcomes, learning outcomes, activities, and doing portfolio, because portfolio, as in management, case study is a part of that. I think portfolio is all gradually becoming part of everything. In our new policy, they have said even school, college, university, any discipline, they have to do portfolio. So they are now proposing that portfolio should be, and in our case, we use the Mahara software, which is an open source software for doing portfolio. And these days, and this is about 6, 7, 8 years back, and these days a lot more other software are available. So therefore, the pedagogic strategy that I'm trying to promote, or rather underline, and what exactly we did in our program, that I have translated into this PowerPoint. The first is direct instruction, because direct instruction has to be given. The reading of self-learning material has to be given. So open education resource, self-learning material, virtual class presentation, our virtual weekly class, all these things, they were direct instruction. So the pedagogy of direct instruction was utilized, and this I would call as instructivist, certainly. Second, there was learner-learner interaction, both in Google Groups as well as in discussion forum. But especially in Google Groups, we structured in such a way that it has to be learning outcome-based, activity-based, content-based, learner-learner interaction. Teacher's intervention will be minimal, as less as possible. This was certainly a very constructivist experience for all of us. 3, we tried to give authentic tasks. Authentic tasks developed by us for e-learning on Moodle, and authentic tasks that the students have to develop themselves. They have to do a course on Moodle, that Moodle platform we will provide. They will design, develop, implement that, and give us a report. That report is the final report for evaluation. So therefore, this authentic task was very much there, and this was certainly constructivist, because nobody agreed with nobody. I am doing with as a student in agriculture, somebody in rural development, somebody is in business management, somebody is in computing, somebody is national election, somebody is in accounting, somebody is in pension funds. Whosoever is working wherever, they were all working. So therefore, they did their own project. Then the learning nuances, open source software. This, as I told you, a 2-week hands-on face-to-face workshop. This was certainly a more of a psychomotor experience, because they have to actually do hands-on themselves. Sitting with a computer, we provided 30 computers to them, and they brought their laptop also, and with full Wi-Fi, so they had to do this. Then the other pedagogy that we have discussed is the reflection on practice. So after doing all of these, in the discussion forum, they will also discuss all the nuances. What happened, how it happened, what they learned, what they should discuss more, and what the discussion forum in online platform, and which can be threaded. And there was weekly discussion forum, sometimes fortnightly, 15 days discussion forum, one question. And self-regulation, we tried our best, but it depends on how do you design actually through our e-portfolio. So e-portfolio self-regulation, which was certainly a more constructivist way of doing things, and also experiences, strategies, innovation. So which I would say is more creative within the Bloom's taxonomy, even if we consider that. This was more creative at a very high form of learning, because self-regulation through their e-portfolio, even if it is 10% that they could achieve, self-regulation through portfolio is also fine. We thought they would achieve 100%. Even if they did 10%, then it was also fine. And there was 24/7 by technology support provided. There was one technology support person from the university, not from our department, who was doing this. But the student number was not thousands. The student number was less. And myself and my colleague, Dr. Maithili, because this was initiated by Dr. Misra, who is now at Commonwealth of Learning. So we took over and we expanded it. So myself and Dr. Maithili, my colleague, we did this because the best award. So I think from a pedagogic point of view, this was a very considered program. We knew what exactly we were doing. We were using technology to do what we wanted to do. Technology did not directed us. And moreover, we were very sure that in the country, everybody doesn't have the same highest level of technological access and technology ability. Access is not only important, but also ability, the competency to use technology for teaching. So teaching and learning, all put together, I think this worked very well. This Dr. Maithili is presenting in the SWAYAM platform of the national platform, and I am only contributing to that. Friends, I brought back this PowerPoint, which I presented on the first day. I will again emphasize that there are so many technological explosions, but I think I will submit, because we have worked on this, that a blog, making it compulsory for students, and providing them wiki, both are free of cost, providing them. One is a reflective activity for personal, and another is a collaborative activity for the group. And in between, if these two can be joined together based on our design, based on the learning competency, these two activities, these are a part of activities, I'm saying, and they are part of the credit hours. And we also assigned in our program also, we assigned some scores, some grading into that, and it did marvelous things. So maybe once in a month, they will do a blog and wiki interaction, not that every week, but once in a month. So about in the whole year, we had 6 such blogs and wikis on important high level of high order learning activities. It worked very well, friends, I must tell you. Final 2-3 PowerPoints, quality OER. I think it depends on the program coordinator and the institution who understands quality. It depends on our choice of OER, will determine quality. How we were adopting that OER also will determine quality. And then, especially activities. My submission is, as Professor Mustafa rightly said, that if there is a case available as an OER, we can take that. But that case becomes an activity for us. It's not part of the larger content that we are providing within the printed year. So my submission is, whenever we are going for OER, let us try to be, as much as possible, find out activities which are learning outcome based, because we have to check also learning outcome, because without checking learning outcome, if we take the activities will work, but they will not support our learning outcome. So activities as OER, they have to be, besides many things, learning outcome based also. At what learning outcome level they are doing, we have also to take into consideration. My second submission is that some of the important areas we are not actually tapping them, where OER, which are outcome based and which are authentic and which can be related to, which are activity based, which can be related to our course or program, we should address. I start from below. Merlot is probably the best in the world, I must say, but these days there are many. The Khan Academy has come. Salman Khan in US, the Khan Academy is the highest hit that has internationally. And in India, Khan Babu is advertising very aggressively. But this is free of cost, by the way. This is all free of cost. Khan Academy is also free of cost, which is much better than edX or Coursera or many such which Harvard and Stanford they're promoting. So Merlot, I know this because I sit in the advisory board and I'm part of the Merlot Journal, a very high impact journal. I'm part of the editorial board, and these people are doing very well. Unfortunately, these people financially could not sustain. They sold out to the American Association of Online Learning. So AECT, American Association of Education Technology or something, Communication Technology, and they are doing very well, but they are still maintaining Merlot. MERLOT is called Multimedia Educational Resource for Learning and Online Teaching. This is excellent, www.merlot.org. Commonwealth of Learning and UNESCO, as you know, Professor Mustafa will educate you more, because Commonwealth of Learning is also working, and UNESCO, in fact, coined the word OER and maintains a whole lot of, especially in teacher education, does a whole lot of, and creativecommons.org, certainly. To our education colleagues, I must say, they must access this TESA, Teacher Education in Sub-Saharan Africa. This TESA started from there, but this got into the whole world. And my predecessor, Professor Alan Tite, who was editing that Journal of Learning for Development, Seoul Journal, He was Pro-Vice Chancellor in British Open University, is a good friend. He became the chief of TESA. When I was chief regulator of teacher education in this country, there are about 20,000 institutions, about 14 million students they study in teacher education every year. It's very huge, very huge. So we were trying to adopt TESA for teacher education in this country. Whole lot of open education resources that are available on TESA. The China Open Resource for Education, CORE, now available in English. It was earlier available in Chinese. Excellent. And as you know, the British Open University Open Learn is one of the finest resources and one of the 2 sample lessons that I have sent you. One of them belongs to Open Learn. And I selected that because that is largely activity based. So one of the samples that I sent you is activity based. This Open Learn is very good that you can borrow and adopt. MedEd portal for medical education, MIT Open Course Software was the first one to do that. Open Courseware Consortium, OCC, Creative Commons Share, and Global Learning Objects Brokered Exchange. So these are authentic, I think, belonging to different disciplines. These are very authentic resources that we can consider insofar as reusable learning object, and these days they will call it open access activity repository. That activities including cases, assignments that we can take from them, and therefore you can consider that. That is my last. This I'm giving to all of you colleagues as an activity. I will email you. I'm only showing but giving a brief. There is a lesson, or it could be a course also. There is a lesson to write on universe and earth. This is a lesson on universe and earth. These are 3 different ways that you can teach that lesson. Out of 20 or 25 that we did in the workshop, that these are 3 different ways. This is getting international attention, by the way. And so like Misra and Gawa activity kind of thing. So there are 3 different ways how the concept mapping has been done. That means how you would like to teach that. What activities will come in, what learning outcomes. So it depends on, but these are 3 different concept maps. This I will stop here. I will email you requesting you to give a brief, maybe 500 words, that which one you like. This is how to teach and what to teach and how to teach, which one you like and why. So I should stop here. I will email you as an activity. You can take your time, a few days to do that and send me back. So each one, hopefully this is compulsory to do. And this would determine that your argument, pedagogic argument, what to teach and why to teach based on pedagogy, whether it is learning outcome, activity, or apprended learning, or whatever you would like to teach. But this is about content, that how you would like to teach. So friends, thank you very much. I stop here. And we still have 10-15 minutes left. So if there are questions, I would like to take those questions, or if you have any suggestions, any view. So now it is open. Please feel free to put up your views.
We are left with just 5 to 10 minutes. You can ask few questions from Professor Panda.
May I ask a question?
Please do, please.
Thank you very
Professor
much.
Sarkar.
I am Mohsin from School of Education.
With Mohsin Uddin, please tell, please. School of Education, আপনার দিদি কেমন আছে? Dean, your dean, ঠিক আছে তো? আচ্ছা।
Acha, thank you very much for your nice presentation regarding outcome-based self-learning materials. But you know, our University Grant Commission established a division, that is Institutional Quality Assurance Cell, to monitor all private and public universities. Under that institute, they are trying to established, or they are trying to make common format of curriculum. They have named this OBE curriculum. That means outcome-based education curriculum. So before outcome-based LMS, I think we need to focus on curriculum. That means outcome-based education curriculum. So regarding the ODL system, what format would be the OBA curriculum? Could you explain a little bit more?
You see, the format is my metrics. My format is my metrics, which is internationally acceptable. So if tomorrow, based on the outcome-based curriculum, the institutional quality assurance cell, if they decide to adopt a different kind of format, but then my submission will be that all the aspects that we have discussed, all the aspects that are available in the matrix, and many that is not available in the matrix that we have discussed, pedagogically, they will form a part of that in one way or the other, whatever that style may be, in-house style, format may be. But all these will one way, this way or that way will form part of that. So whatever we have discussed or whatever you are thinking, but of course you have to go by the format that they will provide, because that will be a national accreditation format. But then all these, we have discussed pedagogy. We have not brought in technology as much as I thought. So all these pedagogic principles will form part of that. I can only wish the best to institutional quality assurance cell. Sometimes when the bureaucrats run these, they mess up the whole thing. So therefore, I can only give best wishes. I know my country, I know many countries. So therefore, I have my best wishes to them that they should consult with some of the best professors in the country, in Bangladesh, while designing this, and therefore they will bring more of pedagogy of different disciplines. Pedagogy doesn't belong to only your education discipline, because you teach pedagogy, isn't it, in teacher education? But then pedagogy belongs to all disciplines. That's what we discussed in the 3 days. So therefore, the pedagogic principles, I hope that one way or the other, they will build into that format or that style, in-house style, or whatever accreditation style. They will call it outcome-based learning style. So I think that will come. That will come. But we have discussed, I have not stressed on any format. So I only discussed that this is what is expected, that your concept mapping, then your learning outcomes, then whatever content you teach, then your activities to engage, and finally your assessment. That was my, and this, when you bring in other technology, it will become blending. That's what we have discussed in 3 days. So I think Bangladesh Open University and you people should contribute more to the institutional quality assurance cell. I think so. So, and your Vice Chancellor, Professor Manan, our good friend, should take a lead in that, and that BOU contributes significantly to that, so which will make sense. That's what I can say right now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
If I want to add something, that you were asking about outcome-based curriculum. So your curriculum will depend what are your program outcomes. So that one has to keep it in mind, your quality assurance cell, that what are your program outcomes. Based on that, you design your curriculum. So what is that? One has to keep that in mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that program outcome will be, as I understand it, in Bangladesh, will be applicable to, since government is applicable to all the universities and colleges in the higher education in the country, and therefore they have to be very careful. I only wish again that some of the people who understand employability, the 21st century skills and outcome-based learning in different disciplines, they should join hands. So I think then only it will make sense. Then the BOU can reap the best benefit out of that. So.
Okay,
So,
any other questions you have?
Yes,
I have one.
I have a question. Yes.
Okay, sure. Please go on.
Go ahead.
Bolun.
Go ahead. Okay, Professor Sharkar first and then Professor Mustafa.
Okay, thank you very much. Last few days, we learned a lot from our respected teacher. I want to take one advantage from you that you have shown yesterday some link for mapping, concept mapping. Can you show us today one of the example of concept mapping, how we can prepare one concept map by using the link?
Using the
Link. You give us some word for today, but I want to know how you can draw a map from the using the map, a link, some software link. Yesterday you sent some software link.
Software yesterday. Yesterday
Yeah.
I gave you some software link of concept mapping, including mind map, and so I'm sure your colleagues, Professor Mustafa, will help, because right now opening that and drawing and technology and kinds of things my colleagues generally do here. So Professor Mustafa, I will request
Yes,
take it up after the workshop and bring in all colleagues. Maybe online is possible, but it has to be set beforehand, because then you will have your content. You decide your which discipline you have to do, and then proceed doing it. Otherwise, the software is just software. You have to work on that, expand that. It will go on expanding the way you would like. Some are tree diagrams, some are tabular form, some are graphic representation, some have linkages. So
Yes, Professor Sarkar, you can always just download the very simplest software, that is CMAP. Just download it and start doing it, because it is a self-learning software. Start putting, to begin with, just take a general topic, let's say COVID in Bangladesh. So you start drawing that and you will learn it on your own. But you
Okay, I
have
can
to
do, but I want to, there's a lot of audience here. I can show how to make a template.
I think Professor Mustafa will be able to help
Okay,
you,
no problem.
Yeah,
no. When you do that, you need at least 2 hours to
Okay.
explain that and do it. So kinds of things. It is possible. Some of the very easy ones you can do. But as I told you last time, I do in the Word file myself. As I showed you the examples of Commonwealth of Learning certificate that we developed, and community radio also, SEMCA, we developed. So I do in the Word file, and the Word file mapping I showed you. But these days, a lot of software available to do. I think Professor Mustafa. So Shahina Akhtar, you want to ask some question?
Thank you.
Thank you
Dr.
very much
Shahina.
for giving opportunity. No, I'm not Dr. Shahina. I'm only Shahina, assistant professor, Open School, Bangladesh University. At first, I want to give thanks to Commonwealth of Learning, and also give thanks to you that you give huge knowledge about pedagogy. It's a very interesting subject, and I think it's very much essential, especially in terms of education. So my specific I just want to know, is there any opportunity or option to integrate pedagogy in every aspect, means every section, like in our educational channel, SSC or masters? I think, especially this opinion, particular pedagogy-based standard curriculum. I think if we integrate in all sections based on pedagogy, if we can do any curriculum for us, that will be better. Is there any opportunity or option, or I just want to know your opinion, and this is my only personal observation. Thank you very much.
না না আমি বুঝতে পারি না কি ভালো করি you see opportunity, who will provide opportunity? Bangladesh Open University will provide opportunity, or the dean will provide opportunity, or the course team will provide opportunity.
Okay. I don't want to know the authority based. I just want to option about pedagogy based. Is there academic based option or opportunity? I don't want to know if we can find any linkage. Then Open University or government or anyone can help. I just want to know academic side. Can I make you clear?
You may, let me write down. I'm writing down, send links to pedagogy-based curriculum
From
in different disciplines.
You're right.
Okay. So what I sent you from the Open Learn, the British Open University, one module, one lesson, which is more than 30 pages, activity-based, I sent you. But then I have to access their curriculum structure. Let me try to find out, and I'm pretty sure somewhere, one way or the other, I can locate from Canadian, Athabasca, British Open University, and a few others. Let us try to locate some discipline-based, because everything curriculum is discipline-based. So discipline-based, high pedagogic oriented curriculum structure, that means the entire program structure you are asking for, that I will locate and do. One I sent you, one I already emailed you, that is certificate in community development, which is also based on these kind of articulation that we are doing, that was developed in Kerala. But then let me find out from British Open University especially, and Athabasca University from colleagues. I can email them if they can send us either copies, or they can provide us links to those platforms. Then we can access those.
Okay, now last question from
but then one sentence, that if you go to the OASIS of the Commonwealth of Learning, OASIS Commonwealth of Learning, the open education resources that are available, they are plenty. And sometimes the entire program is available. The program guide, the design, as well as all resources are available. You can also try out, which I mentioned at COL and UNESCO in my OER PowerPoint. So, but I will still try to provide that.
Okay, I have a question, please.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Dr. Japur Ahmed from Open School. I just want to know, is it essential to input a keyword section? I repeat, keyword section in a unit or lesson to develop our course. I have a views to share with you. We have a page limitation 20, 250, 200 or 300, etc. For that reason, we are unable to input many activities in the section. What we should do in this case? Thank you.
Dr. Jafar, what is the page limit of a lesson?
No. Total course materials.
No. Mane, I'm asking you, what is the page limit of a lesson, by the way? Plus, minus.
It is guided by the authority.
No, kitna kato kori. I'm asking you, what exactly 20. Is the limit? Minus, plus?
Plus, minus 20. A
200.
Unit,
Mane, on an average 20. The entire course will be something like 300 pages or something.
Less than 300.
So less than 300. See, the point is, I will distinguish between the keywords and glossary.
Right.
Secondly, I will spell out. Secondly, that if the entire module is bound together, then you can give your glossary at the end of that module. But sometimes, I don't know, sometimes that units, combination of 2-3 units becomes a module that is also printed separately. So depending on, but I will simply say the why keywords. The keywords can be defined at the beginning of the unit itself. 4 or 5 keywords in a lesson, how many? 4 or 5 lines each, that's all. How many pages it will take? Half a page. And I can stress giving more glossary at the end of the module or the course booklet. Glossary is very important. That has to go towards the end. Because glossary, they can, just like a dictionary, they can always check whenever they find time. But the keywords have to be presented in the beginning of the, but then I must submit to you as a pedagogy expert that every lesson doesn't have keywords, by the way. Maybe the course or the paper, traditional as we say, has keywords. The keywords can be defined at the beginning, and the whole lessons will be presented one by one. So each lesson may not need keywords, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Please.
Sir, can I add one thing? Is glossary is compulsory for pedagogy? Keywords is compulsory or very much essential for pedagogy? Is glossary is essential for pedagogy? Can you hear me?
I do. No, I mean, buঝতে পারি. Now you are visible afresh. Now I can relate. Who are you? So, you see, pedagogy has nothing to do with keywords or glossary. This is point number 1. If you feel that for better understanding of the students, there is a need for keywords to give at the beginning of the lesson, and there is a need to give a glossary at the end of the module or the course, then if there is a need, if there is like in medical science, and they do give such. But in many other disciplines, I have not seen that they often give keywords and glossary. So, but the keywords can be explained within the text or within the lesson itself. So why at the beginning? But if there is a need, pedagogically, neither it stops giving nor it supports giving. So it depends on you and your students, actually. They are understanding that to what extent that they think that, or you think that the students will not be able to understand, and therefore you can define at the beginning. I think it is better to give. Always it is better to give, that some students may like it, some may skip it. So I think it is better to give that.
Thank you.
Okay. It's like an advanced organizer. Like if you read those words and you know what you are going to read, like, so that's very, very, in my opinion, that's important, which you can, students, learners, anyone can go and see what it contains, what the lesson contains. So that's important. Like when you write down your research papers, publish in the article, publish in the journals, you see in the very beginning, after the abstracts, you give the keywords so that you know what are the things which the article explains, describes, talks about. So it is essential pedagogically, because you are insisting on pedagogy, to have those keywords.
Thank you.
Professor Mustafa, and then we will end.
So I think the time is almost already up. So I will not take that much time. So I must thank Professor Panda for this very interactive and nice session, because the information we got, the concepts we got, the explanations we got are really fabulous. Now it is our responsibility to go back to you with some output. So I think the colleagues will together for this workshop. So I will discuss with my colleagues. We can do something special and make not only reform. I believe in transformation because we need transformation now. So if we can transform our SLMs to the outcome-based SLMs, it will actually enhance our exposure to the country and internationally. That is the time we have to take this opportunity. And since you are connected with us, I know you very well, and most of the colleagues know you. So if you are connected, then I think we'll achieve that goal. So just a very few short question is, because there is a debate now and we are a little bit stuck about the final exam. So we took the final exam. It was face-to-face, paper-based, 80 marks was there. So now we are a little bit stuck there. Now we are planning how we can take these exams online, because there is, kind of mindset, very much rigid mindset attached to the face-to-face paper-based exams. And it is thought that sometimes some people are thinking that this is the only option. We cannot go for some better alternative. So do you think that online exams can be a best alternative in this case? Not only in COVID and afterwards. Thank you very much.
I think during COVID time, it was compulsory for most colleges and universities, because finally our Honorable Supreme Court, the Apex Court, gave an order to the teachers, because there were many teachers who were not willing to do online kinds of things, So, but because of COVID, the order came up, and people thought that they will get suspension orders or whatever, so they got into these. I will give you my country's picture. There are 3 different ways that they conducted the examination, and therefore were completed the Honorable Supreme Court order. One, some of the universities and the government said, and the court said, that whatever way you would like to do, you do, but then you have to maintain social distancing. That was the point. So there were 3 different ways that they did it. Number 1, there were universities and colleges which conducted exclusive online multiple choice question-based examination. So it was acceptable. Well, it was acceptable, good or bad, whatever they did, they did. There were second kind of universities, including University of Delhi, who said that we will give you essay type and short essay type questions. We will not give you multiple choice. Multiple choice could be a few only, but then you have to write as an open book examination. This was for the first time in the country done, that an open book examination from home. The questions were very difficult. They were long answer type questions, but open book from home. And that the students have to upload to the examination repository of the university. The university will allocate that to the professors, and professors will download the whole long essay type answer scripts. They have to go through. Of course, there was no commenting done like assignments. Then they have to evaluate and give their scores. And this was second category, and the professors have to upload. They did it. It was very cumbersome, they did. There was a third category, because I was the chair of the selection of a Vice Chancellor's committee for selection of Vice Chancellor, and there were members, they were Vice Chancellors. This was yesterday only. So the Vice Chancellor told me that they did very differently. He is from Gujarat, the state of Gujarat. They said in Gujarat, even Corona pandemic is very high, but he said they did it very differently. The way the Chinese people did, they did exactly the same thing. Meaning thereby, they maintained social distancing. They said no, not more than 50 students in a cohort, they can sit in a face-to-face direct examination as it was happening earlier, but maintaining all the social distancing and whatever the legal aspects and health aspects that the health ministry said, they did that. So we have these 3 models available. And post-corona in 2021 onwards, I think all the 3 models will be acceptable by the government. And there will be many more blending that will be getting into, because at least our feeling is that 2021 Corona is not going to go away. 2021 Corona will continue, COVID will continue. And therefore, these kind of experimentation, including the Zoom teaching that is going on, will form an integral part of our higher education teaching learning, which was not happening earlier. So I think these three models, example that I gave, were basically done. We do not have any more model available so far because all the examinations, they were conducted within these three models. But they were exclusive models. Nobody has blended them, no university. These three are separate exclusive models that different institutions actually followed.
Okay, thank you. I think you must be having a lot of questions. Do ask your questions through email or to WhatsApp to Professor Panda. All of you have his email ID as well as you are in the group. So with these words, my sincere gratitude to Professor Panda for his 3 days extensive giving of the content, explaining each aspect of how to develop an outcome-based self-learning material. He has provided a lot of literature, online, links, PDF files, and so on and so forth. It's for all of us to now read, go through, and finally come out with the matrix. Because this is not the end. We will be doing it further, take it forward, because Bangladesh Open University is serious about, and the Vice Chancellor is serious about, the transforming, what the word Mustafa used was transforming the self-learning material. The BOU has excellent material. My only suggestion will be, and then we will end, my only suggestion will be go to the internet, see the learning material of British Open University. Excellent material there. Athabasca Open University, Hong Kong Open. You will see the variation. See material of IGNO also. It's not that only I'm saying see these advanced country material, but see the various open universities material. Another example I'll just give that is a DEFT in Netherlands. Excellent material, excellent videos they have developed. We know how to move about and what we can get the best of these materials. So with these words, my again thanks to Professor Panda, and we will continue this. My thanks to all of you. But as Professor Manan said, that we need to integrate soft skills also in the capacity building program. So tomorrow we will be having a session on how do we look like self, personal effectiveness. All of us, we are learning the content, the subject, but how do we conduct ourselves? How do we perform, and so on and so forth? That's a very important areas now. Like when you were talking about the curriculum and Professor Panda said employability skills, how do you integrate all these things into your curriculum? So tomorrow we will have a 1 hour session, 1.5 hour session with Professor Marmar Mukhopadhyay, and we all see you at 10 o'clock India time, of course, 10:30 Dhaka time. Once again, I thank Professor Panda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your time.